Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel. My name is Jennifer and this is my second video in this series. And I just kind of wanted to let you know about some of my means for information for my prepping type and homesteading type things. So first off, I go to the local library I try to go on a weekly basis, but sometimes I'm not able to, so I do go on a every other week to every 3 weeks basis, and I always check me out some books that have to do with homesteading, gardening, self-sufficiency, prepping, things along those lines. And I try to type up some information out of those books, kind of summarize some of the things that I think are important and good to know, and I print those out because I want to have a hard copy of everything, just so that if, for instance, like I explained in my first video, if the power goes out, I'm not relying on an internet source to know how to take care of something. So I want to have the means to have that information on hand without needing to freak out over not having the internet to look something up. So like for instance, this is the Ultimate Self-Sufficiency Handbook by Abigail R. Gehring. And this is one that I've gotten from our local library. And I am, let's see, I'm about halfway, no, I guess about a fourth of the way through this book. I actually read through everything, and I find little key points, such as in this one. I will show you types of wheat or grain, and what it is used for and what it is good for. I will make a copy of this list. I will type it up, and I do make sure that I put in my typing up and everything that it did come from this book by this author. I'm very sure to make sure I put that in there, because if there's ever a time that, you know, I've got a lot of, because I'm not going to type this whole book, not happening, because that's copyright for one. So I kind of take notes from it. But if it's a book that I have found a lot of useful information in, I will try to save up money and see how much it is on Amazon and try to purchase that book. I wish I could purchase like all of these self-sufficiency books so that I would have them on hand, but that's just unrealistic because some of these books are $30 a piece. This one though, this is a book that I own. It's The Ultimate Guide to Homesteading, an Encyclopedia of Independent Living, and it is by Nicole Ferris. And my mother bought this one for me, and I think it was like $18 with the shipping and handling off of Amazon. But it has everything from clothing, making your own clothing, ink, ink and paper, I don't really need to know that, but like the clothing and blankets, making your own cheese, plant identification, which I think is great for foraging, and growing your own herbs, so you can make sure that you are growing the right herb, because some herbs are very dangerous, very. It also has in here what the herbs are good for. It has in here how to take care of animals, such as sheep, and, you know, things to know about them, what you need to do to take care of them, how to care for them, what they need, and everything like that. And it also has in here, you know, like solar power, modern convenience and electricity and everything like that. This is a wonderful book if you're a beginner prepper or homesteader. I think this is a great place to start. This is one of the first books I checked out from the library, and I just fell in love with it. And I was telling my mom about it, and we actually keep a garden. They have a garden not year round, but every spring and summer they have a pretty big garden. And you know, we have been having some problems with deer and turkeys and crows eating our crops, and this actually had, and certain bugs getting on our crops. This actually has in here somewhere. I had it marked, but all my little tabs are missing. But what plants to plant near and to keep away from them to help production of the plant and to keep pests away, and stuff like that. So I was telling her about it. She actually bought her a copy just for that. Like I said, that's my personal copy. And this is my little homestead book. I started it with that. Like I said, I just type things up and I add it in here. Like this is equipment you will need. And this is for stuff to be off the grid, as everyone calls it. No power, no water coming from your town or anything like that. You provide your own power, your own water, if you have those means. And so it tells you what kind of things you're going to need. Like, for instance, I'll just do this short one. For the house, things you'll need are a wash tub, a washboard, a flat iron, a rifle with ammo, battery-powered smoke alarm, a wood cook stove, wood stove for heat, a clothesline, clothespins, dustpans, straw broom, wood ironing board, treadle, sewing machine, and baskets. Now, am I going to get all of that stuff? No. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to buy all that stuff. But like some of the things, like a battery-powered smoke alarm, that's something I definitely already have. And it's good to have, even if you have electricity. Because if you have a home, even with electricity, and your power goes out, your smoke alarm is not going to work. So then how will you know if something happens? You go to sleep and your power's out because of a storm or something. Your power's out for a couple days. Okay, just because the power's out does not mean that fire cannot get started. You know, there's lots of scenarios that a fire could still happen. So it's good to have a battery-powered smoke alarm. And then, you know, there's the basics. Now, this also came from the book I just showed you. This is before I actually got the book. So this was my little short, this was my notes that I was taking from the book. And I was just so in love with it that I had told my mom, and she went and bought me the book. And I was so thankful for that. So I quit typing everything up. Now, I also have this one. This is Sewing, Quilting, and Crafts. This is these are some things that I have found online that were free PDFs that I didn't have to, you know, make sure that I kept the website I was getting it from. I could actually just print it out because it was a free PDF. And this is letting me know about fiber content, interfacing, bindings and tapes, just all sorts of things to make sure that I know how to sew. Because if you're going to make your own clothes, you need to know how to do it. I also have these books. These are my personal copies. I found these at Ollie's. Well, the top two I did. No, I didn't. My mother bought them for me. She bought these for me as a birthday present. This is Quilting for Dummies. I do have a quilting sewing machine, but you know, it's got, you need to know how to quilt. Because just sewing is not going to get you a good warm blanket, unless you know how to quilt. Now you can sew. You need to know the basics of quilting to have a warm quilt or a warm blanket. You don't have to know all the fancy stuff or anything like that. But just sewing a blanket is going to be completely different than quilting a blanket, which will be much warmer. I have Sewing for Dummies, which kind of goes with my other. And this is for letting me know how to sew all different kinds of things. And the basics. And it's much easier to understand than a lot of things too. And the Sewing Book by Allison Smith. This was a book my mom got me. It has a lot of pictures in it. It's got lots and lots of pictures in it. Very detailed pictures of how to actually do stuff. So I was very thankful for this book as well, because it makes it much easier to know what to do when you're sewing. But right here is my actual, now my daughter got a hold of my notebook. So I made me a little notebook here. I drew me a picture, my survival notebook. Because it's how to survive when you're without things. For when SHTF. And that's just because that's in all sorts of books. But survival tools, how to saving seeds, how long seeds last for. Now I really need to organize this a little better. I haven't been in this. I've been doing just a lot of typing and sticking it in here for the time being, so that I have it on hand, and I can organize it later. But I made a mistake and checked out too many books. And, you know, food storage, how to tan a hide, must-haves in a first aid kit. And then I found a free PDF about canning food. It was completely free. I was so excited about this, and I don't even remember where I got it from, but I printed the whole thing out. So like most of this is about canning. But exactly how to can, what spices to put in your food, and everything like that. And then, you know, I make me a little list of what other things I need to cover that I haven't covered yet. And then, you know, I make me some little lists of if things go bad. And then I go through of things that I don't have, what I would need to get if, you know, just something bad happened. And I make a list of that, and then I go through and kind of mark which ones are the most important, such as medications, if something bad did happen. For instance, a war or something, and we lost all power, and everything like that, and everybody lost power. It would be crazy. You may think that it wouldn't go crazy, but America would go crazy. We are so reliant on too many things that we would go crazy. Or if money was not as, you know, there was no value to any type of money, things would go crazy. So, if things went crazy and like it got really, really bad, what I would grab, what I would need to go out and, you know, grab, first thing, and where I could find it. And like medications, I would definitely, if it got so bad that stores were shut down because it got so crazy and people were just, you know, raiding stores, I would need to make sure that my son that takes a medication on a daily basis, I would need to make sure that he had that. So yes, I would probably be one of the crazy people that would run into one of those pharmacies or grocery stores or something and grab that medication that he needs on a daily basis. And, you know, my children come first. And I'm not going to have people that's going to be running in there and stealing this stuff that's going to be using it just to get high or to try and make money off of it. I would be getting it for a child that needs it. I make a list of important dishes and kitchen supplies that I do not have that are that you use by hand. And I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. My daughter's playing Minecraft in the room next door. Important medications and medical supplies. Food and grocery items that, you know, I have a small stockpile of, but I need a larger stockpile of, that have a longer shelf life than most. I do have a list of all of that. things I would get out of a sportsman's section if things went crazy, and need to slowly but surely get as time goes on, such as backpacks, lanterns and oil. Hey, baby. And hammocks and sleeping bags, fishing line, things along of that nature. I also look up things such as, now you're probably gonna think I'm crazy about this, because a lot of people do. They think I'm going nuts over this, but I keep an eye on outbreaks. There's a website you can go to where you can see medical outbreaks of, like, for instance, the Zika virus. You can see how many cases there are of the Zika virus. You can see, like, the West Nile virus, where they're at, the fatalities with it. I do keep an eye on that because I want to know, okay, well, if the Zika virus is getting close to me because of the actual mosquitoes transferring it, I want to go out here and get some extra bug spray. Things like that. I've looked up things of that nature. Closest CDC facilities closest things to me, just because you never know. These CDC facilities are working on vaccinations for cures for some very deadly diseases, and if there is a nationwide power failure, and this power failure, yes, they do have generators, but there is still that possibility that the generators aren't going to run forever. So there will be viruses that could possibly be unleashed onto America. And so I want to know how close it is to me so that I would know what I would need to prepare for. So that is everything that I am kind of covering. I am working on making a mini greenhouse box, which is made from a window and just some wood to be a seed starter. I have gotten the materials to make that because we have a resale place that actually makes, you see yourself, we have a place that sells parts from old houses and everything, and I was actually able to find a nice window for $2. And so I have gotten all the stuff to make that, and I will hopefully be making a video about it. And once I get some more prepper supplies or homestead supplies together, I would like to make a video showing you some of that and let you know some of the things I'm actually doing instead of just kind of giving you a rundown. Yeah, there's a doggy up there, isn't there? But thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in my channel, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. And I also have another channel, which is a Homemaker's Life, which has more along the family-oriented type things. We do snack crates and family fun activities. And if you would be interested in that, I will link it below and you can go check out my other channel. Thank you so much, and everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.